ABK Hell, das Blau.
Life is too short to be drinking shitty beer.
I had a horrible feeling that this was non-alcoholic, but it's not. It's 5%. And relax. Welcome to another edition of Bands, Bikes and Booze Reviews. I've spoiled it now, but I've got a bottle of this. This is the ABK Hell, and this is a genuine Bavarian beer, as you can see by the mark on the label, and it's from the ABK Aktienbrauerei, or Brewery, as they say in Germany. I'm getting pulled up for my German pronunciations by certain subscribers.
Who won the bloody war anyway?
I must improve on them. They are right. There's nothing worse than some fucker mispronouncing words. Anyway, I've got some of this ABK stuff. Now, as I say, these are quite an interesting brewery. They're based in Bavaria. They're genuinely Bavarian. They're from a place called what is it? How am I going to pronounce this? Kaufbeuren, and it's in a region called Swabia, which is part of Bavaria, a region of Bavaria, and they're called Aktienbrauerei. Aktienbrauerei means Aktien in German means share, so it basically means that the brewery is owned by shareholders, and they go back to 1308, that's how old they are. And they weren't called ABK then. I mean, they make a big thing about 700 years on the top of the bottle there, but they weren't called ABK back then. I think they've been called ABK since 1920 or something like that. But there was a brewery in their location in 1308, I think it was, when they first started. And shortly after, the Kaufbeuren Guild of Brewers was formed in 1325. And do you know what they did? They introduced their own purity law almost 200 years before the Reinheitsgebot of 1516, which is quite impressive. And they obviously conformed to the Reinheitsgebot, but it's interesting that they had their own, which was the same as the 1516 Reinheitsgebot, just the four main ingredients: water, hops, yeast and malt. They were the four ingredients, and obviously yeast was used as well. But they had that in place before the purity law, which is quite impressive. And they've been producing beers ever since. But as I say, 1920 was when they actually became known as ABK. Now, if you've seen this before, this logo, but you've never tasted the beer, but you've seen it before, it looks familiar. If you're a Formula One fan, which I'm not, you will have seen that on certain racing cars. The reason being, in I think it was 2004, 2005, the brewery was obviously owned by shareholders, but it was operating at a loss, and not a small loss either. 600,000 a year, 600,000 euros a year it was losing. So it obviously wasn't selling that well. And in 2013, there's a fellow called John Paul Dioria, I think his name is. He acquired the majority shareholder stake, 55% I think it was, and shortly after he bought the lot. So that's owned by him now. Now I've tried I think it's their Dunkel. I'm not sure whether it's on the channel or not, but I've definitely reviewed it, and it wasn't bad. Not the best Bavarian beer, but it certainly wasn't the worst. And I've got some of this stuff, the lager, the Hell. But I've also got some of their Fest beer as well, which I'm going to try later on. I've got to go and pick up a fucking mattress, a memory foam mattress for the missus. She's her back's playing her up, so we've got to change the mattress. So I've got to fucking pick that up later. So I can't cane it. I'm just going to have that, and then that's it. Nothing else. But this is quite an interesting beer because they grow their own hops, their own Hallertau hops, and they're locally grown, and that's where they source them from, and they use it in that beer. Which Hallertau is the predominantly used hop in Bavarian beer, and it is lovely. It is a fantastic German noble hop, and that's what they've got in here. So let's stop gassing and let's see how good this is. Now, blue bottles normally mean, in German, they mean non-alcoholic beer, and I had a horrible thought there for a minute that this was a non-alcoholic beer, but it's not. They've actually got it as a 5% vol beer, and I'm still struggling to work out what vol beer means. I'm sure it's something to do with the tax. I think it's to do with the gravity. I think if your beer's over a certain gravity, you pay higher tax, not ABV, gravity. As I say, 5%, 330ml bottle. Lager Hell. Hell, of course, means light. Hell, Helles. That just means a light beer. And yeah, it conforms to the Reinheitsgebot. Genuine Bavarian product. I do like the caps on those. Very colourful. Very colourful. Very colourful. Just like the label. And I even went out, because I'm a sad bastard, and got an ABK glass. So nobody can say that I'm not using the right glassware, as if that makes a huge difference. Well, it does actually. I was watching something the other day about beer, the difference between beer and a straight glass and a curved glass, and it's actually scientifically proven that the body or the mind is tricked into thinking that the beer tastes nicer, smoother, and just more flavoursome, etc. I'll go into a bit more about glassware on another programme, but that's the thinking behind it anyway. Anyway, that's for another programme. Let's get this beer opened. Nice and cold out of the fridge. Got it today from Beerhawk. I was looking for some of the Oktoberfest beer from Paulaner, from the, who's the other three that I haven't got? Oh yeah, Paulaner, Hacker-Shaw, and the Augustiner. I'm trying to find their 3 Oktoberfest beers, but nobody's got them at the moment in the UK, which is really pissing me off. And I was looking on Beerhawk, and I just happened to see their Fest beer, some of this, and I've got a couple of other British beers as well, so watch out for them. Anyway, enough about that. Let's get this in the glass and see what the score is. Now, I'm not going to sniff it out of the bottle because I've stopped doing it. That looks lovely. That looks like a really nice, clean German Helles. Very lively on the carbonation. Oh, it smells lovely. You just the Hallertau hops straight away. And some nice sweet malt on there as well. Now, I'm assuming this American shareholder isn't a fucking bean counter, and he's not tried to get the brewery to cut corners, because I think if you do that in Bavaria, you're going to go under. But the competition is so stiff, so them running at a £600,000 loss, they must have been producing substandard beer by Bavarian standards. And I know a lot of the Germans are very loyal to their local breweries, but obviously if you're not producing the goods, you ain't going to get the cash. Simple as that. First rule of business. Yeah, there's nice sweet Bavarian malt, or Munich malt, from what I can gather. There's an earthy undercurrent coming from the hops, and a little touch of lemon citrus, but it smells nice and typically German. Let's get it down the hatch. Zum Wohl, as they say in Germany. Wow, that is sweet. Now, if I did this in a blindfold test, I would say that they've added some glucose into that. It is very, very sweet. I will say that. And just let me confirm that they haven't done this, because ingredients, fucking, hang on, where are we? And would you believe it? They've got it in French, but not. Yeah, it's just water, malted barley and hops. That's what they've put in there. Okay. It's really, really sweet. It's reminding me a bit of the Löwenbräu Oktoberfest beer. That had this kind of sweetness on it. But once you get used to that, it's a very nice, doughy, grainy malt flavour on this. There's a little touch of earth on there too, and then, you know, just a sprinkling of spice. This is all about the hops, and I have to say, it's not a bad one. That first mouthful was very, very sweet. Now, I haven't had a beer in 2 days, I know. I was at a funeral yesterday and I was driving, so I didn't have a drink. And this is my first beer for 2 days, and I'll tell you something, this initial mouthful was really sweet, but this is settling down now to be a very nice beer indeed. There's a slight grassy sort of note on this as well. It does feel like it's very pure and clean, and you're getting all the hop flavour come through on that. Nice malty, grainy, doughy type aftertaste which lingers and lingers. Not much lemon citrus at all, which is surprising. Nice mouthfeel too, really nice mouthfeel. And yeah, that is a very credible Bavarian Helles, or Hell as they like to call it here, and it's won quite a few awards.
Award! Award!
Yes,
award!
Father.
Award!
Yes,
Award!
Father.
Award!
Yes,
Award!
Father.
Award!
Yes,
Award!
Father. There you are.
Right!
And I think it's won 4 or 5 different awards, some gold as well, and I can half see why. This is a really nice beer. And I have almost caned that bottle, so I should really calm down. But yeah, all in all, quite impressed with that. So what's the verdict on ABK Hell? Yeah, this is a good one. Now, I tried their Dunkel and it was okay. It didn't really stand out as being amazing, but it was pretty good. And when I saw this available, I thought, yeah, I'm going to try some of this. And, you know, as I always say, and I'm not a broken record, but you rarely go wrong with Bavarian beer. You know, and if, as is probably the case with this lot, you know, they were in 2004 and 5, they were operating at a loss of 600,000 euros. So obviously the beer they were producing, I don't know what was going on there, but the beer they were producing wasn't flying out the door as well as the other stuff. And of course the competition is stiff in Bavaria, so you've really got to be, you know, on top of your game. Otherwise, quite simply, you go under, you know. And yeah, this is really nice. I am impressed. I would give that, I'll give it a 9 out of 10. It's that good. But it's a typical, you know, a typical Helles, Bavarian Helles. It's just got very, very big sweet malt in there. Nice Hallertauer flavours and aromas that come from that. And a great mouthfeel. And altogether, that just makes the ideal combination for a lager. And this has come out of the fridge. It's very refreshing. I'm still getting all the flavours. It's not way over the top cold, but it's really nice. So yeah, I'm impressed with that, and I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10, and I'm going to recommend it. And remember, beer is working class champagne.